sunset.
So can you say something about this instrument?
Sure. This is an adaptation of an instrument called the theremin, and it was invented in about 1918 by a Russian named Leon Theremin. And I've performed on this instrument for about 30 years, and I've used it in soundtrack work for movies. And it's a very hard instrument to learn. There aren't too many people who play it well. Perhaps 1,000 in the world.
Okay.
And I actually manufactured them because my main business is electronics.
Okay.
And so I did not make any money selling these. It was a labor of love. But
so
that's it. It's history now.
So how you started this instrument?
I went to college and I had a roommate who brought a theremin to the dormitory.
Okay.
And I looked at it critically and I said to him, Phil, I could make this better, make a better circuit, because that was not a very good one. It was one that was made by a company called Oberheim, and I believe it was designed by Robert Moog himself, who I knew.
Okay.
You know, Moog was very famous for his synthesizers, and he tragically passed away in the, I believe it was the early 2000s. But he started out, one of the first things he made in his business were theremins.
Okay.
And the company still exists, Moog Music, and they still make theremins, but they don't sell a lot of them.
Okay, so how long you played this instrument?
30 years.
30 years?
30 years, yes.
Oh my goodness. Is there any, you created any show, YouTube channel, something?
I did not specifically, but when I did soundtrack work, then we would use YouTube as a convenient way to display the sample.
Okay.
There's probably 24 samples of me singing and playing the theremin on YouTube, sometimes under different names. And I did vocals for motion pictures. When you do that, you can't always say that you did that because they don't want to acknowledge that the actor had a dub.
Okay. Is there your own training center for this instrument?
There are none that I know of.
Oh. So where you recommend if somebody want to train this instrument?
I would talk to them for perhaps an hour or two, and that's about all the instruction you can give.
Okay.
And then it's a matter of practice, practice, practice.
So how much it costs?
Well, when these instruments were manufactured 15 or so years ago, they wholesaled for $300, and they would mark them up to $450.
450?
And there were better instruments that were prettier. Not the circuits were the same, but the nicer box, and they went for sometimes $1,500.
Okay.
You can generally, a good theremin these days costs about $1,500 to $2,000.
Okay.
You can get some really cheap ones for $100 that are pretty worthless.
$100?
Yeah, they're not good.
So
They don't have good responsivity.
what about yours? How much it costs?
This was these things were wholesale for $300,
300?
and they were retailed for $450.
You have some in stock now?
No.
No. Almost it's sold out.
When COVID struck, everybody bought them.
Okay.
So the hundreds of units we made were all disappeared, and I won't make more because the cost of parts is too high,
Oh.
way too high, and there's not enough interest.
Okay.
If someone came to me and said they want perhaps 500 units, I'd make them.
Oh.
But, you know,
If they give you order?
yeah, they have to be paid in advance and all that.
So
Scheduled over a year.
So how can they reach you if somebody need order?
There really is no way to reach me anymore.
No, anymore?
No, I closed the company.
You close the company?
You could talk to Washington Music Center, which is my retailer.
Oh, they are your
Edward Spence.
Okay, okay. So can you play something?
Sure.
At the end?
That's Something by the Beatles.
Okay, so what is the function of right hand and left hand?
This hand is controlling the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You see that my hand goes lower to make the pitch higher.
Okay.
And this is the volume. The hand goes lower,
Mm-hmm.
gets louder.
Okay. So, how long it takes for you to train for the first time this instrument?
Well, I began playing it when I was building them.
Building them?
So
Okay.
gradually over, it took, I'd say to get any acumen on it, it took 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah. Some people can learn faster, and most
Wow.
people take at least 5 years, and you got to practice a lot.
It needs patience, I think.
Yes, you have to, you do have